Hi guys, I've known it's been a while. I'll continue reading the Tunnel of Bones another time because I have to read this one book called The Eye of Minds for school, and I think I'll read this with you guys. I'm gonna read chapters 1 and 2. The Eye of Minds, the Mortality and Doctrine by James Dashner. Chapter 1, The Coffin. Michael spoke against the wind to a girl named Tanya. I know it's water down there, but it might as well be concrete. You'll be flat as a pancake the second you hit. Not the most comforting choice of words when talking to someone who wants to end her life, but it was certainly the truth. Tanya had just climbed over the railing of the Golden Gate Bridge, cars zooming by on the road, and was leaning back toward the open air, her twitchy hands holding onto a pole wet with mist. Even if somehow Michael could talk her out jumping, those slippery fingers might get the job done anyway. And then it might be lights out. He pictured some poor sap of a fisherman thinking he'd finally caught the big one, only to reel in a nasty surprise. Stop joking, trembling girl responded. It's not a game. It's not a game. Not anymore. Michael was inside the Vertinet, the sleep, and to people who went in as often as he did. Who went in as often as he did. He was used to seeing scared people there, a lot of them. Yet, underneath the fear was usually the knowing deep down that no matter what was happening in the sleep, it wasn't real. Not with Tanya. Tanya was different. At least her aunt, her computer simulated counterpart, was. Her aura had this bit crazy look of pure terror on her face. And it suddenly gave Michael chills. Made him feel like he was the one hovering over that long drop to death. And Michael wasn't a big fan of death, fake or not. It is a game, and you know it, he said louder than he wanted to. He didn't want to startle her, but the cold wind had sprung up, and it seemed to grab his words and whisk them down to the bay. Get back over here and let's talk. We'll both get our experience points, and we can go explore the city. Get to know each other. Find some crazies to spy on. Maybe even hack some free food from the shops. It'll be good times. And when we're done, we'll find you a portal. You can lift back home. Take a break from the end game for a while. This has nothing to do with lifeblood. Tanya, this has nothing to do with lifeblood, Tanya screams at him. The wind pulled up at her clothes, and her dark hair fanned out behind her like laundry on a line. Just go away and leave me alone. I don't want your pretty boy face to be the last thing I see. Michael thought of lifeblood deep, the next level. The goal of the goals, where everything was 1,000 times more real, more advanced, more intense. He was 3 years away from earning his way inside, maybe 2. But right then, he needed to talk this dopey girl out of jumping to her date with the fishes, or he'd be sent back to the suburbs for a week, making a blood deep, and that much further away. Okay, look. He was trying to choose his words carefully, but he'd already made a pretty big mistake and knew it. Going out of character and using the game itself as a reason for her to stop what she was doing meant he'd be docked points big time, and it was all about the points. But this girl was legitimately starting to scare him. It was that face, pale and sunken, as if she'd already died. Just go away, she yelled. You don't get it. I'm trapped here. Portals or no portals, I'm trapped. He won't let me lift. Michael wanted to scream right back at her. She was talking nonsense. A dark part of him wanted to say forget it. Tell her she was a loser. Let her nosedive. She was being so stubborn. It wasn't like any of it was really happening. It's just a game. He had to remind himself of that all the time. But he couldn't mess this up. He needed the points. All right, listen. He took a step back, held his hands up like he was trying to claim a scared animal. We just met. Give it some time. I promise. I won't do anything nutty. You want to jump? I'll let you jump. But at least talk to me. Tell me why. Tears lined her cheeks. Her eyes had gone red and puffy. Just go away, please. Her voice had taken on the softness of defeat. I'm not messing around here. I'm done with this. All of this. Done? Okay. That's fine to be done. But you don't have to screw it up for me too, right? Michael figured out maybe it was okay to talk about the game after all, since she was using it as her reason to end it. To check out of the virtual flesh and bones. Hotel and bones hotel and never come back. Seriously, walk back to the portal with me. Lift yourself. Do it right away. You're done with this game. You're safe. I'll get my points. Ain't that the happiest ending you ever heard of? I hate you. She spat a spray of misty saliva. I don't even know you, and I hate you. That I don't even know you, and I hate you. This has nothing to do with lifeblood. Then tell me what it does have to do with, he said it kindly, trying to keep his composure. You've got all day to jump. Just give me a few minutes. Talk to me, Tanya. She buried her head in the crook of her right arm. I just can't do it anymore, she whimpered and her shoulder shook, making Michael worry about her grip again. I can't. Some people are just weak, he thought. Thought he wasn't stupid enough to say it. Lifeblood was far the most important game in the Vertinet. Yeah, you could go off to some nasty battlefield in the Civil War, or fight dragons with a magic sword, fly spaceships, explore the freaky love shacks. But that stuff got old quick. In the end, nothing was more fascinating than bare bones. Dirt in your face, gritty. Get me out of here, real life. Nothing. And there was some, like Tanya, who obviously couldn't handle it. Michelle sure could. He'd rise up its ranks almost as quickly as legendary gamer Gunnar Scale. Come on, Tanya, he said. How can it hurt to talk to me? And if you're going to quit, why would you want to end your last game by killing yourself so violently? Her head snapped up as she looked at him with eyes so hard he shivered again. Kane's hunted me for the last time, she said. He can't just trap me here and use me for an experiment. Sick the kill sims on me. I'm going to rip my core out. Those last words changed everything. Michelle watched in horror as Tanya tightened her grip on the pole with one hand and reached up with the other and started digging into her own flesh. This is getting dark, but just want to tell you that this is happening in a video game, so this is also all fictional. If you start to feel uncomfortable, you can get off of the video. I just want to give you warning. Number 2. Michelle forgot the game. Michelle forgot the game, forgot the points. The situation had gone from knowing to actual life and death. In all his years of playing, he'd never seen someone code out their core, destroying the barrier device with the coffin that kept the virtual world and the real world separate in their minds. Stop that, he yelled, one foot already on the railing. Stop! He jumped down onto the catwalk on the outer edge of the bridge and froze. He was just a few feet from her now. He wanted to avoid any quick movements that might cause her to panic, holding his hands out. He took a small step towards her. Don't do that, Michelle said as softly as he could in the biting wind. Tanya kept digging right into her right temple. She peeled back pieces of her skin. A stream of blood from the wound quickly covered her hands and the side of her face in red gore. A look of terrifying calmness had come over her, as if she had no concept of what she was doing to herself. Though Michael knew well enough that she was busy hacking the code. "Stop coding for 1 second," Michael shouted. "Would you just talk about this before you rip out your freaking core out? Before you rip your freaking core out. You know what that means. Why do you care so much?" She responded so quietly that Michael had to read her lips to understand. But at least she stopped digging. Michael started. Because she had stopped digging and was now reaching inside the torn mass of flesh with her thumb and forefinger. "You just want your experience points," she said slowly. She pulled out a small metallic chip, slick with blood. "I'll forfeit my points," Michael said, trying to hide his fear and disgust. "I swear. You can't mess around anymore, Tanya. Code that thing back and then come talk to me. It's not too late." She held up a visual manifestation of the core and gazed at it with fascination. "Don't you see the irony of all this?" she asked. If it weren't for my coding skills, I probably wouldn't even know who Kane was. About his kill sims and his plans for me. But I'm good at it. And because of that monster, I just programmed the core right out of my own head. Not your real head. It's just a simulation, Tanya. It's not too late." Michael couldn't remember a time in his entire life where he felt that ill. She looked at him sharply and took a step backward. "I can't take it anymore. I can't take him anymore. He can't use me if I'm dead. I'm done." She curled the core onto her thumb, then flicked it towards Michael. It flew over his shoulder. He saw flashes of sunlight glint off as it spun through the air, almost like it was winking at him, saying, "Hey, buddy, you suck at suicide negotiations." It landed with a plink somewhere out of traffic, but it would be crushed in seconds. He couldn't believe what he was witnessing. Someone so sophisticated at manipulating code that she could destroy her core. The device that essentially protected players' brains while they were in the sleep. Without your core, your brain wouldn't be able to filter the simulation of the Vertnet properly. If your core died in the sleep, you die in the wake. He didn't know anymore. He didn't know anyone who'd seen this before. 2 hours earlier, he had been eating stolen blue chips at the Dan, the Mandeli, with his best friend. All he wanted now was to be back there eating turkey on rye and directing Bryson's jokes about old ladies underwear and listening to Sarah tell him how awful his latest sleep haircut was. If Kane comes for you, Tanya says, tell him that I won in the end. Tell him how brave I was. Tell him how brave I was. He can trap people here and steal all the bodies he wants, but not mine. You're at page 8, and the end of the chapter is at page 11. Michael was done talking. He couldn't take one more word out of the girl's blood-smeared mouth. As quickly as anything he'd ever done in his life, as any character in the game, he jumped toward the pole she clung to. She screamed, momentarily frozen by his sudden action. But then she let go, actually pushing herself away from the bridge. Michael grabbed her railing to his left, with one hand reaching for her with the other, but missed both. His feet hit something solid, then slipped. Arms flailing, he felt nothing but air. As he fell, almost in sync with her, the incredible shriek escaped his mouth. Something he would have been embarrassed about if his only companion wasn't about to lose her life with her core coded out. Her death would be real. Michael and Tanya fell toward the harsh gray waters of the bay. One tore at their clothes, and Michael's heart felt like it was creeping along the inside of his chest, up his throat. He screamed again. On some level, he knew he would hit the water, feel the pain. Then he'd be lifted and wake back home, safe and sound, in his coffin. But the Vertnet's power was for reality, and right now the reality was terror. Somehow Michael and Tanya's auras found each other on the long fall, chest to chest, like tandem skydivers. As the churning surface below rushed towards them, they wrapped their arms around each other, pulling closer together. Michael wanted to scream again, but clamped his jaw shut. When he saw the complete calmness on her face, her eyes bored into Michael, searched him and found him, and he broke somewhere on the inside. They hit the water as hard as he thought they would. Hard as concrete. Hard as death. Number 3. The moment of pain was short but intense. Everywhere, all at once, bursting and exploding through Michael's every nerve. He didn't even have time to make a sound before it ended. Neither did Tanya, because they heard nothing but the distance of a horrific crash of hitting the water's surface. And then it all disappeared, and his mind went blank. Michael was alive, back in the nerve box, what most people called the coffin, lifted from the sleep. The same couldn't be said for the girl. A wave of sadness, then and disbelief hit him, where his own eye, with his own eyes, he'd seen her and change her code, rip the core from her virtual flesh, then toss it away like nothing, more than a crumb. Then it ended for her, ended for real, and being a part of it made Michael's insides feel twisted up. He never witnessed anything like it. He blinked a few times, waiting for the unlinking process to complete. Never before had he been so relieved to be done with the vertinet, be done with the game, ready to get out of his box and breathe the polluted air of the real world. A blue light came in, revealing the door of the coffin just a few inches from her face. The liquid and gills and air puffs had already receded, leaving only part of Michael truly hated. No matter how many times he did it, which was way more than he could count, thin, icy strands of nerve wire pulled out of his neck and back and arms, slithering like snakes along his skin before they disappeared into the little hidey holes, where they be disinfected and stored for his next game. His parents were amazed that he voluntarily let the things burrow into his body so often, and he couldn't blame them. There was something downright creepy about it. A loud click was followed by a mechanical clank, and then a whooshing gust of air. The door of the coffin began to rise, swinging up and away on its hinges, like Dracula's very own resting place. Michael almost laughed at the thought. Being a vicious, blood-sucking vampire loved by the ladies was only one of a billion things a person could do inside the sleep. Only one of a billion. He stood up carefully. He felt a little woozy after being lifted, especially when he'd been gone for a few hours. Naked and covered in sweat, clothing ruined, and sensory simulation of the nerve box. Michael stepped over the lip of boxes, thankful for the soft carpet under his toes. It made him feel grounded. Back in reality, he grabbed the pair of boxes he left on the floor, put them on. He figured on a decent person, figured a decent person probably would have opted for some pants and a t-shirt as well. But he wasn't feeling so decent at the moment. All he'd been asked to do by Lifeblood game was to talk to a girl about out of suicide for experience points. And not only had he failed, he helped drive her to do it for real. For real. For real. Tanya, whoever her body might be, was dead. She'd ripped out her core before dying. A fate of programming, protected by passwords. That she only could have done to herself. Faking a core removal wasn't possible in the VertNet. It was too dangerous. Otherwise, you'd never know if someone was faking, and people would do it left and right for kicks or to get reactions. No, she changed her code, removed her safety barrier in her mind, and separated the virtual and real. And to the actual implant back home. And she had done it with purpose. Tanya, the pretty girl with the sad eyes and the delusions that she was being haunted, dead. Michael knew it was it be in the news box soon. They'd report that he had been with her, and the VNS VertNet security would probably come and talk to him about it. They definitely would. Dead. She was dead. A lifeless and sagging mattress on his bed. It all hit him then. Hit him like a fastball to the face. Michael barely made it to the bathroom before throwing up everything in his stomach. Then he collapsed to the floor and pulled himself into a ball. No tears came. He wasn't crying. He wasn't the crying sort, but he stayed there for a long time. I'm not going to read chapter 2 because it's been like 30 minutes. I'm going to read chapter 2 another time. I hope you enjoyed the first chapter of The Eye of Minds. If you think that this book isn't for you, you don't have to read it. But I hope you enjoyed the video.